During 2025, only 433 startup raised money from the first time in 2025, while seed funding and angel funding are tuition was declined. So the request of our members, we decided that we should have such a program. What the startup should prepare themselves before approaching the investors or a lender. I think this is a program in which is like that. So we are important personality with us. Shri Bhavesh Patel sir with us. Mr. Dr. Chaitanya Shah is with us. Mr. Amit Shah is with us. Another banker is going to join, Mr. Som Prakash. He is also with us. It's important aspect how to raise the funds by the startup. Raising your first round of check is most important aspect for which main focus is required, insight is required, and your wishes is required. Because startup have got an idea, and how to execute the idea is most important issue. Then what the investor is looking into the things are also most important. So this panel will discuss all such things. So we invite at the outset Shri Bhavesh Patil sir, who is a founder director of Opulence Business Solution Private Limited. He has invented so many technology in the field. Recently, he invented a program where they can do marketing without any assistance. If you want any requirement, marketing, you just put in that system. He will find out the buyer and he will place the order. He will collect the information about their product or other product, and he is the help of fear of the startup. So I am requesting Shri Bhavesh sir to please give your thought on this subject. What are the major factors for the first time startup who want to raise a, what they should demonstrate before approaching the lender or before approaching the investor? What they should do, because they are not getting the funds. Even the bank has been authorized to give up to 20 crore rupees under a credit guarantee trust scheme, where 85% is covered under the credit guarantee. Still, they are not getting bank from the bank. Whether the startup are not well prepared before approaching the banker or investor or angel investor or seed money. So I request the Bhavesh sir, who is helm of fear of the industry, please give your thought on the subject, sir. Bhavesh sir, please.
Thank you so much, Gupta ji. He is always very kind and, always very aggressive in giving the introduction. But I'm a very ordinary person, but trying to get extraordinary vision from him. I'll just give you the broader sense out of the experience which I have, about 27 years I have been working with various entrepreneurs and youngsters and, on the board of various accelerators and incubators also. And closely, I have managed various funds and also as a non-fiduciary key man in the asset management industries. The broadly, everybody wants money, but in the finance industry, we say that money doesn't want you. Okay. So everybody wants money, but money doesn't want you. That means that money flows to someone who doesn't want money. That means that they create the situation where you don't need the money and hence the investor and customer is queuing up for you. Okay. And that is the critical answer. And that is what we are solving nowadays. And especially post pandemic, this was becoming the mission of my life. that, how can we do this? Okay. So, we are trying with the particular idea that which are the magical seven things, if we implement, then, the investors are chasing you and you don't need to chase the investors. Okay. Because if you chase the investors, which means you are in the queue and you are a rejected lot. Okay. So that is the situation, how you can create. And that's the answer for the first time entrepreneur or a first check or a first investor. If you are chasing, then what are those seven things? So point number one. Point number one starts with the inner and not the outer, because the money wants to invest in the inner energy and not the showbaji, which means that investor want to invest in the persona, investor want to invest in the character, investor want to invest in the reliable person or a reliable founder. And what is the reliable founder? The reliable founder is something like, in a very common language, I would say that, are you something like a Ratan Tata personality, where, you are earning money for the society? Okay. So the vision which you want to carry, whether that vision is for your own company or the vision is for the greater good for the humanity and the nature contribution, and what is the super consciousness activated in yourself and in your company. Okay, so that is the answer, for the first question, in terms of developing the aura of the founders, and the whole company and the whole stakeholders should be aligned with those aura, and how to elevate that aura in terms of 1,000 hertz frequencies, so that, the investors are attracted that, okay, this guy has a different spark, and, I have invested in that guy and not his product, or not in his company. Because the chetana, we have a Chaitanya sir, so he understands the chetana. So, so Chetana is basically the driving factor for the investor. That is point number one. Point number two, that, investor want to see that what is the readiness of your war room. War room designing. We call it, in an ordinary language, we call it a knowledge banking. Okay. In a further ordinary language, we call it a data room preparedness. Okay. So, but where exactly the business is a war. Okay. But the first war you need to fight is within, which is the first, I said, develop your aura, and fight with yourself first and come out clean. Okay. And then you say that you create your war room, the business war room, which will have your three, complete alignment of the full data room in terms of a finance or marketing GTM data room, or ops data room, or a deep tech data room, and all type of a readiness level. We call it a technology readiness level, marketing readiness level, finance readiness level, and this readiness level from 0 to 9, always there is a scale, and investors are measuring this scale in terms of your readiness level, departmental, internal, and external readiness level, and that you need to prove it in your paperwork and data room. So that's a second preparedness. Third preparedness is that, are your transactions, or any particular check you want to take it, are you ready for bidding, in terms of bid ready, आपका डील जो है उसमें ऑक्शन या बिडिंग हो सकता है, उस लेवल का है. So then only any investment banker, merchant banker, or any fund guy will come and bid for you. Okay, so investment banking readiness is also very, very important in terms of numbers, valuations, structuring, and what is yes and what is no in terms of the, negotiation parameters or the covenants. So that is the third part. And then, other implementation, if you get the money, what will you do with that money once you get the money in the escrow? Okay, I'm not ready to give you unless I'm clear that what is the Ana Paika Hisab, the every penny, where are you spending? I need a complete, dashboard access that where this money is going. So if I'm saying that broadly people say इतना percent technology में लगा देंगे, इतना percent marketing में लगा देंगे, it doesn't work like that. So one has to spell out that in the technology, I have a blockchain technology budget for this much. And this year I'm putting money in the agentic AI orchestration, and my server cost is this, and my total credit I need to buy is this, whatever. So, come out with the complete deep implementation around technology implementation. And then you talk about that where is your customer? Because if I don't see your customers, why should I invest in you? So the next vertical answer is that where is your customer? Where is your orders? I want to discount your orders. I want to invest in your cash flows, but I don't know. I don't see your cash flow. So GTM readiness or customer readiness, the another solution. And the last one is the sustainability angle. Now there are two type of sustainability. One is the, what are you doing for the nature? Are you just creating a missiles and arms and ammunition? Okay, or are you creating a polluting water and injecting on in the land for creating India as a bigger cancer capital country? Or you have the zero liquid discharge, and you have a recovery of the drinkable water, and the salt and solvents are extracted. Okay, so you are a sustainable technology. I want that answer. Okay, are you sustainable to nature or are you sustainable to humanity? And then the same entire six problems which I have told you, it is been imbibed in your not only chairman and founder and CEOs and managing directors, but whether your vendor, whether your supplier and your customers and all your employees are also in the same wavelength or not. I want to do the forensic analysis of your customers and your vendors and your employees, that I'm getting these enough vibes or not. If not, then I'm guaranteeing that this money is going for a toss completely. So if I'm getting this answer, my check is ready. That's all. Thank you.
Very nicely covered, sir. Your seven pillar, how you covered it. I think every nuts what we are talking about today, the webinar, you covered everything very nicely. Sir, this is investor. Beyond money, something else should be seen by the investor, by the startup from the investor. Money is okay, one thing. When he is going to investor, beside money, he can bring something else also. Because you are the helm of fear of such industry where technology, everything is available with you. And you are helping the people like anything startup. Money is one side. This beside money, something else should be looked into from the investor side, sir.
Yes. So you are saying that what we should look at in the investor, right?
Natural, natural. Once I
Yeah.
am going as a startup, I am
Hmm.
getting money. Beside money, one should think something differently also.
Yes, there are
That they
five
can contribute
things.
something as you are contributing to the industry.
Correct.
Technology you are contributing marketing, you are contributing raw material, everything you are contributing. What they should see from the investor point of view.
It is like, finding a right girl for marriage.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
sir. Right, sir.
So, I mean, in our Gujarati, we are patidars. So, our, parents says that, if you are born in the poor family, that is not your fault. But if your father-in-law is poor, then it is definitely your fault. So, so just a jokes apart, I'm saying that there are so many, everybody calls themselves as an investor. Okay.
Right, right.
But there are how many BlackRocks, and there are how many Blackstones, or there are how many, Nvidias as an investors, right? So, everybody says that I have a money, but I have this condition. I said, put your condition at your home. We don't want your money. Okay.
Right.
So what we should look at is the patient capital, number one. Okay. So where there is no patience, Okay, we should not touch that money. Okay,
Very important. Very important.
that is the first condition. Second condition, what we should look at is that, he should not call me for the dividend checks or the interest checks.
Yeah.
Okay, he should say that, okay, well, how much more money you need? I understand you are working very hard and this happens little delay in the order book, this, that, but you please take this money, but make sure that, you come and bounce back with the bigger speed, you know. So that kind of an investor we need, number two. Number three is that, the investor having, one is the knowledge, second is the ecosystem access. Okay. Like if the person, just one example, typically, I mean, sorry for the bankers, but, so most of the time bankers say that, no, 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 you just give my interest. I don't care anything, you know. So SBI ho, ya Bank of Baroda ho will say, ki, I'm concerned about my interest. I'm not concerned about anything else,
Yeah.
right? I don't need that kind of a lender or investors.
Yeah.
The guy who understand that Corona aata hai, pandemic aata hai and we are here to support you, we will stop you and we will not allow you to become defaulter. Okay.
Exactly.
So investor, is, it's like a, what we call it, पुराने जमाने में वो जो होता था ना, द्रौपदी का क्या हुआ था, स्वयंवर.
So, but yes.
Okay, so it is like a swayamvar. You need to pick and choose the best one. So the best one is coming with the ability of a very deep ecosystem access, market access, technology access. He will give me the idea that, these are the governance, regulatory, and compliance management. You should not ignore it. Okay. And someone who can tell me, or who can tell me and advise that you do this and you don't do this. And do not restrict me or stop me on my new initiatives or something, although he brings the focus in the business, but it doesn't mean that, I have to do lot of things, junk thing which he is telling me. So there are so many things coming from the investors that, he will sometime, investors are responsible for the default of the company, because, that guy has the veto, or that guy sometime, takes the majority control, and that guy sometimes in the taking the two board seat or a three board seat and telling that, no, you have to implement this model or that model. Now who understand better your baby, other than your mother? So the promoter is like a mother of your, he's a mother of that product, and somebody else is coming and teaching that, this is the right way of stopping your crying baby. Okay. So, selection of the entrepreneur, I mean, investor is extremely, extremely important. And there are like a matrix, and there are like a risk model. We run it typically, and it is a 90 points, risk model. And if the score comes, in terms of percentage, if it is 90% plus, then only we advise that go with this investor, in terms of a synergy matchmaking, and in terms of a, the overall, kind of a need basically versus this synergy. People select the need. I said, don't go by your need just because of his giving the money, because at the end of the day, the long run, you will not be happy.
Very important, sir. I think you have got very importantly, because only money is not a major thing. Investor is coming with the experiences in that trade. He can help you to how to have a sustainability and how to have a scalable. Other things can be done if you are choosing a right investor. I think he can be very useful beside the money. Other thing can be helpful to us. Sai Rohit sir, I will come back to you later
Thank
on.
you.
I will ask about your invention, what you have done it. Like later on, let this should complete the chapter first. So my point is here, the first check is not the destination. It is the beginning of the journey to building credible, scalable, sustainable enterprises. I think this is the most important aspect which Bhavesh have had told, sustainability and scalability are the most important issues. Now, having coming to my guru, Shri Dr. Chaitanya Shah. He is the mentor, guide for SME sector. He written so many books under SME, which is, you can say, giving help to the SME sector, has the chambers, other things also. So he's the right person to talk on this subject. What the requirement for a startup? When startup is approaching to a banker, to a lender, what are the key financials metric should be ready with him? Because he is expertise in financial aspect. Before approaching sir investor or to a banker, please guide our investor, guide our startup, what information they should have in hand before approaching them in respect of the key financial position. I hand over to Mr. Chaitanya Shah.
Thank you, Guptaji. I also thank Resurgent India for inviting me for this important webinar. As Bhavesh has explained, he has wonderfully put, see, there is a big difference between the regular business, which is generally being followed by MSMEs, and a startup. Startup is a business where the entrepreneur is starting with a totally new business model which is not in existence.
Yes, sir, please. आपका म्यूट हो गया सर.
Whether you talk this totally business model. You're saying something, Gupta ji?
नहीं, okay, go ahead. आपके आवाज नहीं आ रही थी. चलो, please go ahead.
Now, the thing is, which as a person from finance, I would emphasize that one must understand the difference and the risk associated with it when you are dealing with a normal business proposals where there are very clear business models. Ki market itna hai, and this is the way I'm going to set up the business. This is how the business will start earning from day one or when it is ready for putting into the commercial venture. It's a very, very clear thing. However, when we talk of the startups, they are working on a new business model. Now, when you are working on a new business model, what is important is one must know that as far as business model is concerned, it is based on a particular idea of the entrepreneur or the inventor who is coming out with this. And this is where it has to be. And as Bhavesh said, the investor should also be willing to play a long game with the investor, with the person who is setting up the startup. Considering this, what is important is that the business owner or the entrepreneur, he must define and understand his business model in an excellent manner where he is fairly confident about the various ingredients on which he is talking about, that this is how my business model is going to work. This is what I am trying to address, a solution for a particular kind of a problem which is existing in the business ecosystem or in the society. And then, say, for example, recently I met one gentleman and he was working on a slight variation in IVF treatment. In IVF treatment, he just wanted to bring in one particular angle, and that was of basically consulting the psychologist. Before taking the IVF treatment, to increase the confidence level, he suggested that let there be a psychologist involved in between, and he will also do the counseling part of it. And that particular thing will help the IVF patients as well as the doctors in terms of creating a much better result in terms of the treatments which are being given. So your business model is the most important thing, because that will decide how successful and how soon you are going to be successful. So considering this, based on the business model which is being finalized by the owner, he has to discuss in detail with the investor. And investor getting the confidence about the business model is something which is very important. Now, this is not so in terms of our banking transactions, Gupta ji, the way banks keep on dealing with the normal this thing, because normal trading, normal financing is simply based on the current business models, and it will keep on working. But in case of a startup, the businessman has to convince about his basic assumptions, the kind of market and what the kind of product which he is looking, the kind of time frame which he is looking, and the investor should feel confident that here is a product, here is a person, here is an organization which will be in a position to fulfill this particular thing. So first thing is, the business model has to be something which will appeal the investor and convince him that this is where he should take a risk, and he should be willing to come or join the promoters in terms of handling the thing. Next is very important, as Bhavesh again said, as a person who is dealing with the startups and all, most important is the time frame. Any business, in the regular business, again, as I said, you know very clearly that what is the gestation period. Within 3 months or 6 months, the project will be implemented and it will go for the commercial production. Not an issue. But when it comes to the startup, one is not sure how and when the business will start, how successful it will be. So this particular time frame is something which is required to be monitored very closely. And the person who is starting the startup, the entrepreneur, he must win and convince the confidence of the investor, because investors' conviction that this project is on stream, there may be some delays, but this project is on stream, and that is how it will move forward. The next comes the various milestones. When you are taking up a particular project, there would be different milestones which the project has to go through. From start to finish, there could be 5, there could be 7, there could be 10, all different types of milestones will be there. Now, those milestones, along with the time frame, will provide a lot of confidence to both, to the entrepreneur as well as to the investor. And this is what is very important. Then comes the question of various production and other cash flow productions projections. How are they going to be validated? Whether the various assumptions on which the promoter or the investor, the person who is coming out with the business idea, entrepreneur, whether those assumptions are going to be clear. And based on that, the person will be in a position to get the confidence that, okay, this is how the margins and the profitability projections are there. And here, therefore, I can invest. If there are any delays, it needs to be factored into the various projections which are there, delays which are there. And generally, as Bhavesh said, the person who is investing in a startup, he is mentally prepared. His focus is basically on two things: whether the idea on which the startup is working is valid, is it getting validated at different stages of the progress of the business idea, and whether it will ultimately succeed. This is what is very important. And thereafter, it is very important that the various projections which are there, they need to be seen. Another important thing from the investor point of view is that he has to look at the management team, whether the management team has that kind of a credibility, past what kind of a thing is there, and whether that team is capable of delivering. Because this is a very, very important thing. Recently, most of us people would be knowing that in case of a space technology, government has opened up and one project has already been successfully been launched. Now, these people have been working for a long time. It is not that it will have happened overnight. But with the way government has cleared the thing, these people have successfully launched and they are already into the business. Now, these areas become very, very important. And that is where the owner must win the confidence of the investor in terms of both, in terms of the business idea, as well as in terms of its credentials and its commitment to the business which is going to work. Now, these projections, etc., is ultimately going to help them in terms of ensuring that the business is growing in a big way.
I
Yes,
think
Gupta ji.
this is most important aspect. We are talking about the business model and projections. I think these are the major management. You also talk about the milestones should be considered. I think, sir, these are the major aspect for the any startup to prepare the business model properly, give a realistic projection for that, and how the fund they are using it. I think that is the most important aspect. Because what I feel that confidence or a trust is the most important issue for any investor. How to create a financial discipline, or you can say any transparency for the startup to build a confidence in the investor. I think that is more important because the
Yes.
investor has no confidence or a trust with the startup. Because maximum startup going to be failed, 90 or 95% startup is still stay like that. That is already failed. That's why they are worried about the investor. They can how to overcome such a difficulties for the startup. Because India is the third position in world in a startup. And India is playing very important role for the development, economic development of the startup, other things are there. So, sir, this is a major aspect how to create a financial discipline and transparency and create a confidence to the investor by the startup. Any views are on that subject?
Yes. Transparency between the investor and the borrower, the
Sir,
entrepreneur,
yes, sir.
is the most important thing. Unless there is a transparency, there is going to be a huge problem as the project is moving forward, both for the investor because his money will get stuck, and for the entrepreneur because he will not get the additional funding which is required.
Yeah.
So, this transparency aspect of winning over the investor is the most important thing because, and anything initially, I am of the opinion that you should not overestimate your projections. You should maybe show 95% or 90% of what is likely to be achieved. So when you are giving the projections to the investor, you are keeping some margin with you, whereby you will always try to exceed your estimates. And this will be a very positive thing as far as the investor is concerned. Second thing is the transparency is most important in terms of any adverse development. The investor must be informed about any adverse development in the business before he comes to know about it from the outside. Because this particular confidence and transparency in terms of the number is the most important thing.
Right.
And as the projects move forward, whatever developments are there, deviations are there, the investor will always look at the client, at the entrepreneur, to come out with a clean slate. In that case, what will happen that the investor is feeling very confident. I'll give you, Guptaji, my own example, although it was not a startup, but in
Right.
industry, how the confidence building takes place. We had a very peculiar situation of the shortage of raw material.
Right.
And I was seeing a 6 months gap where liquidity was going to be a constraint.
Right.
So, after taking into consideration the bankers and other key stakeholder, particularly the raw material suppliers, that I am going to delay your payments. I am not going to pay the installments for these 6 months. And they took it very, very positively. They realized that this company has a very peculiar problem, and after 6 months, they will come out of it. They very readily agreed and cooperated with the company, whereby we overcome the difference, difficulty in 6 months. My priorities were very clear. First, make the payment of salaries and wages to the employees. And second would be for all the statutory payments which are required to be paid for dispatch of the material, so that your business is not coming to a standstill.
Right.
So when you have this kind of a transparency, your investor, whosoever are connected with it, they will be very comfortable. And this, when you are talking of building a credibility in terms of your business transparency and in terms of your dealing with the thing, is most important.
Very important, sir. Very important. I think that transparency, trust, confidence are the most important issue. Because what we have discussed, I think with two speakers, most important aspect is idea. Startup has an idea. Innovation is there. Once idea is there, then you have to develop the product. Once you develop the product, you have find out the customer. Then you have a revenue. Then finance discipline. That is more important aspects than corporate governance. That should
Because
also be.
Guptaji,
That means
one thing which is very clear in case of a startup is that it is not run of the mill kind of a project where you are very certain that this is the time frame in which I will implement and start earning the money. Here, the cash flow inflow is not very certain. And
Sir,
that is where
then, sir, I'm not talking about the inflow, I'm talking about the revenue. Because the product is there, you must have a selling point here. I'm not talking about a generation of the cash flow or cash surplus. I'm talking about the revenue. Revenue must be generated from that product, no, sir. Otherwise, when you are develop some project, that not for sale, no, sir, commercial sale, no. You must have a commercial sale for that.
निकला था उस दिन क्या था बिट्टी था
yes,
Sir, then we are coming out the investor confidence. That is more important aspect. That first investment, I think this is also invest proper. Then major aspect is sustainable.
डेयरी प्रोडक्ट वाला था क्या नाम था मिस्टी
So I am coming to Mr. Sir, I will come back to you regarding your book. Other thing, I will ask you something. Because I'm just trying to complete the subject. I'm coming to Shom Srivastav. Srivastav ji, you are
yes
there.
sir yes I'm here
Please show your face if possible. Shom Srivastav is a senior banker, professional, industry and project finance specialist. I know him from last 30 35 years. Lekin after 20 or 25 years, I catch hold him. He's very intelligent person. He's looking after the project financing. He's looking after the industrial. He written so many books also. Now a book is coming very fast regarding the large advances. So he covered very clearly how Uttar Pradesh is developing and how the bankers should do for the project financing. So I think this is the best platform for Mr. Srivastav for you. What are the most important factors you look for in a founder before recommending them to investor? Because you are a banker. So what you are looking into a startup, sir? Mr. Shom Srivastav, please.
actually what happened in previous times also there was a phase behind the project
Okay,
there was a phase behind the project
okay,
phase behind the project means there were some Tata Birlas, Dalmi, etc. But now there is no phase behind the project known to the investor or known to the banker.
okay,
There are no phase at all.
okay.
So, in this situation, startup should have, first of all, Indian methodology should have a character, capacity, and competence.
Okay.
The character, capacity, and competence. So, this is very important. 2 days before, I came to know from my daughter that 8 entrepreneurs from this IIT Kharagpur They have formed a AI company. AI company means a company under which you can search, you can investigate, but there are so many experts, strategists, they are giving input to the AI. That is a complete AI company under which you will get your salary through AI, you will be interviewed by the AI, you will have no human touch at all. So this is because the person involved in these projects are IITian and they are from IIT Kharagpur. They are stationed at London, not in India.
Oh,
Some people, some IITians have started flower business. They are producing flowers and sending, importing it, exporting to other countries. The point is, our entrepreneurs, our startup promoters should not be known to anybody, but their educational qualifications, their experience, their adventure should be known to the investor. Nowadays, investors want to know who are you, how to invest my money in your startup. That is a very major point.
okay.
Because at the very start, you cannot get through a 5 years estimates and DSCR and BEP. Definitely, you have to see the person who is behind the startup.
Okay.
That is very important. A startup should not approach an investor merely with an idea. It should approach with credible promoter, a viable business model, disciplined financial projection, and clear roadmap of growth.
For how to prove the character? We are talking about the character, capacity,
Now-
capability.
now-
How to prove it?
Nowadays, there are so many things. LinkedIn is there. There are so many social media things are there. You can very well. Nowadays, even the marriages are done within this LinkedIn and all these things. You can get it. For in our country, there should be some portal for finding out the history of the person. So this is also available. And if a man who is coming from the background of IIT and this IIM, he should not have to show his credentials, I think.
As Somdev, as Som Srivastava sir, as a banker, what important factor you look into a startup before
He,
presenting the proposal?
before examining, we have to see the credentials and then we have to see the detailed project report. That is very important.
That means what we are talking about the financial model, you will have to see that properly.
We have to see DPR.
DPR.
DPR very, very necessary.
Okay. You will see the
Market
DPR.
study, technical study. I have made a project, sir. I have made a project under which I have advised people to engage IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, for their technical support and invention. Why you are doing your own invention?
For Mr. Som, you are advisor to the UP Financial Corporation also
Yes, yes, sir.
sometime. So have any idea on the project report? What a DPR, what there are these financial institutions are looking into?
So I have got a very good idea about DPR.
What you tell me, tell our entrepreneurs who are listening to you.
DPR is a very exhaustive subject. Very
Any,
exhaustive.
any 2 points you can tell them?
You should have a research of the product.
Okay,
You should not go to the product which is already in India. You should go for a new product.
okay,
And when you will go for a new product, depending upon the available government guidelines, you can get through. Very easily you can go.
okay.
There are so many things are there. So I basically advise the entrepreneur to have interaction with the IIT, not IITian, to IIT, Delhi, IIT Madras, IIT Kanpur, and involve them. There are consultants also. There are so many consultants in IIT, Kanpur, Madras, Kanpur, Varanasi. They are consulting people. They provide consultancy. So why you take every burden on your own shoulder?
Anything you want to say? Any investor or what they should look into the startup?
Investor always, actually, investor is more interested in the cash flow of the company. So
Okay.
he will say only what is the project, what is
Okay.
the project model, what is this product, what about what you have done about the market survey and research, what is your technical feasibility. He will see. If a moneyed man, I don't think what he does, but if a ordinary investor, he will see the technical feasibility of the company. Technical feasibility is very important.
Okay. But
I have studied.
the project is new for a startup. He done some innovation. What the
Innovation.
technology will be look into because he
Sir,
invented.
sir, this is not today's India. This is
Okay.
not past India. This is today's India.
Yes.
This is the future India.
Okay.
India is going to lead the world one day because these problems are coming. This USA is having so much of immigration politics. So ultimately, India people will depend upon India. Now people are dependent upon Indian entrepreneurs outside the India. Now people outside the world will depend upon Indian entrepreneurs in the India. This is the future of 10 years future. If I will not go to England, I will use my brain here in India.
Right, sir. Right, sir. But you have so much experience in the project financing
Yes,
or
sir.
any advice to the entrepreneur who are listening to you? I think more than 500 people listening to you. And beside the electronic media.
My advice is entrepreneur to that he should not take any adventurous project.
Okay.
He should be limited to his own mental setup and knowledge and intelligence and take help of the Indian Institute of Technology or any other things. I don't know.
But they are
Don't go
small
for
people. They are small people, startup. How they go to a technology side? I think they have no money for that. No?
no, it depends upon it is the outlay of the project. No, it depends on outlay. They are not charging more. They are helping. IITs are helping. If you go to IIT Kanpur, you go to IIT, they will help you in the project.
Any other thing you want to say some to the entrepreneur for your
I want to say
DPR or
that
something?
bank should finance more and more to the entrepreneurs, more and more, and primarily without collateral security.
I think you raise a very valid point without a
Because
collateral. You
because
are the
because
also helm of fair. Lekin
because
banks are not
because
getting the credit guarantee trust 85% covered under the startup. Still, banker are hesitant to finance it. Have any
sir,
advice to the banker
sir,
who is
you
listening
are
to
very
you?
well know, you will very well know, sir, that it is only a moral mortgage.
Sir,
Property is simply a moral mortgage. It is not a legal mortgage. So mortgage is not very effective for a banking. And we have been born in this situation when there was no collateral security. We have been directed by these priority sector advances, these recommendations. We should not insist for collateral security. And there are a lot of things. There are a lot of securities are available. I think collateral is not so much important nowadays.
I agree. But the cash flow lending is important now.
Yeah, but
That is
if you
important.
if you insist for collateral, you have gone to 1970.
Sir, good. I will come back to Srivastav again to you. Now I'm coming
Thank you.
to CA Chartered Accountant Sri Amit Sahai Mathur sir,
Okay.
who is the founder and CEO of Econex Rating Technology Private Limited. Sir, because I have keep you intentionally last. We want your advice, nothing more than that, because you are so expert under ECG and you can say ESG and other governance. You are developing so many technology or something like that. Give your thought to a startup, how they should approach the investor, what they should do. We must have listened to the three our panelists. So have any idea, Mr. Mathur, from your side? You can advise to the our entrepreneurs, sir. Mathur, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Gupta, for inviting. So first, let me mention that startup are in various categories. A concept stage startup, startup which has built a product and proved the GTM, then the startup which is to scaling phase, and the startup in a maturity phase. So like Flipkart is a startup but in mature space. Then startup in a scaling space is some Zeptos who are scaling new concept kind of, and then startup which are you know their product ready, they have proven the GTM, and then now they're ready to market their products. And the first one is was the concept stage, which is nothing, just an idea. So there are different strategies and different methods in which of investor has to be approached for each of these different startups. Right? There's no one single formula. So if somebody is at a concept stage, they have to. I mean, nobody will fund them. So the initially for them to arrive at a certain base minimum product, I mean, the fundraise has to be done through their family and friends. Uh, right? No VC will fund it. There are few VCs like we have Y Combinator in US. Likewise, there are just very few now who funds the concept stage startups. But mostly initially it's like family and friends and some incubators who may put very tiny pre-seed money. Uh, right? Uh, so you have to take your product to the bare minimum stage, which you can go and project for the next seed level funding. Uh, right. Then comes the startup which has proven the GTM and a beta level or the product has been it has been launched in the market. Their pilot testing have been done and the GTM has been proven. Those cases, the VCs comes into play. There are different categories of VCs from size which funds $500,000 to $1 million to VCs who even fund $50 million. So you have to approach that stage. You can approach a VC which does $500,000 checks because then they would invest in those which have a product ready and a GTM ready. Then comes the third one where they're in a scale up, means the growth phase startup. So growth phase basically, will need a higher amount. So there are VCs who are cutting $50 million checks also, 25 to $50 million checks. There, it is primarily the money goes to, the growth. Those are called growth VCs and the growth capital, and the capital is the growth capital. Uh, so there are, I mean, anybody can Google and find out who are the growth VCs. But your product should be well established, and you need money to grow to the newer markets or expand your footprint. And the last one, where it's well established, there comes the P's, private equities. So they basically come in wherein it's a well established. You have a few hundred crores of top line, you have profit, profitable, etc. So positive EBITDA, etc. So there are different stages of a startup, and each stage determines what kind of investor will invest in you. And definitely no banks invest uh, in any of the startups. But yes, there are debt instruments for the startups. It's called venture debt. So these are the venture funds who have set up a debt instrument, structures, and they are coming in to invest. But obviously, the rate of interest is pretty high, between 18% to 20%. They take interest plus some equity as a compensation. But these guys comes in when you have predictable cash flows and a runway in the company. So that's where the debt comes into your company as a startup. So there are ways, these are the ways in which you can raise capital. No, but obviously they have to be financial prudence. When you are burning cash, you don't have visibility to the positive EBITDA. You should not be raising venture debt. Eventually, be eating away your capital by paying interest. So there are basic, financial prudence which need to be brought in. But first of all, it's a business which need to be proven. The investors look for the right business. All the financials, all the governance comes much later, because it has to be a business. It has to be right product. And once everything is proven, then we have to set up the governance, financial controls. That's what, so that those generally comes in the stage 3 or stage 4 startups, not in stage 1, not in stage 2. Yeah. So yeah, that is
Very important,
please.
Mahatma, what you're talking about. The governance come later on stage. Lekin what is the role of ESG? Hey, ESG can be helpful to the startup.
So ESG is nothing to do with a startup or non-startup. ECG is a concept wherein, it applies to everyone. And basically, if you're a exporting company or you have an export business, then ESG compliances or ESG rating helps you uh, tick off one of the boxes of the from the export perspective, because the importing countries have got specific rules on the ESG compliance. So if you are following those ESG compliance, then obviously you competitively you are much better placed. Number two, if you are ESG compliant, then the lenders give you funds at a cheap at a discounted interest. You get 20, 30, 40 basis point reduction in the interest cost. So ESG is applicable to everyone, but obviously a smaller startups don't have funds to invest in ESG. First they need to set up the business, first they need to prove the business, first they need to prove the market, and then they can invest in ESG. So again, as I said, the third stage and the fourth stage are the companies which should start investing in ESG, uh, uh, because that will help them open more markets, global markets, as well as get the banking fund. Also, there are quite a few VC and Ps who are very specific mandate to invest in the companies which are ESG compliant. So, but all those comes in stage 3 and stage 4. Stage 1 and stage 2, you have to only focus on proving your business model and getting a market acceptance. Everything else comes much later. Financial prudence, governance, blah blah, all that comes much later.
Yes, yes, yes. Important, sir. Both are very important. So, any advice to our entrepreneurs, sir, who are listening to you, Mr. Mathur?
So this is the advice, that if you are stage 1, stage 2, focus on uh, the right product and the right business model, making yourself relevance for your customers. If you are able to do that, then only you are in a stage where you can scale up your business, and you are doing the real business. Otherwise, there are 90% of startups get closed. So either you have to decide whether that you should not be one of those 90%. You should be on those 10%. The 10%, you need to have you have to have a right product or a right concept or a right service with the market needs, with the customer needs, not what you think that you need to sell or you need to make. It's a customer who's going to pay money from their pocket. So customer should be ready to consume that product. So think right, and that exactly is called GTM. So you should be very clear on your what is your market, who's your customer, why would he pay, and what he should pay. So that is the primary focus when you are in stage 1, stage 2.
Very important, sir. Mathur, sir. Thank you very much. Ramesh sir is there? Ramesh sir.
Yes, I'm
Ramesh
here.
sir is there?
Yes, I'm here only.
Sir, any advice to our last words to our entrepreneurs, sir, who is listening to you?
So advice is, one has to come with the, inner cleansing first. You know, every time everybody is saying that, okay, let me pitch this investor and get this money, pitch this investor and get this money. And then every stake, they keep on diluting and then they sell it to the company and then they make the money. And then the investor who has come at the later stage, he is losing the money like anything. So point is, although we are the one of the third largest nation producing the startup, but these are the registered startup, and we have around somewhere between 150 to 200 unicorns. Okay. So find out the reason why the success ratio is less than 1%, right? The reason is that everybody is in the mad race of taking the money out from the investors and not solving the real issues of humanities and real issues of the natures. Typically, investor likes it something called, any direct problem solving or indirect problem solving of a 17 sustainable development goals. So knowingly or unknowingly, people are doing it. Okay. But they don't have the current, exact product market fit and treat your customer like a god. Okay. Then you don't need the investor. Okay.
Most important.
Because if you have the, right product market fit, right pricing, and your end-to-end policies are aligned with the human centric and the nature centric, then possibly you don't need invest. But even if you need the customer, then probably what you need to come out with is something different. And that is what I'm telling you is one thing which is very, very clear in the mind of the investors, that show me the lowest entry point and show me the highest exit point. Prove it on paper, but more than a paper, your energy levels will touch the investor. Otherwise there is no end to the due diligence. There is no end to the forensic, and there is no end to the doubting whether this will happen or not, or whether this will be my the best, best bet, or I don't want to regret by investing in so and so startup. Okay. So point is, create the structure which is, a kind of a compelling structure for the investor. And as I said earlier, that he has to chase you. Okay. And you don't need to chase any investors. Okay. Please stop chasing investor. That is my advice. Work for the, excellence in terms of product, in terms of a process, and in terms of a people. 3P excellence, by default, whether you want Elon Musk as an investor or Ambani's and Adani's as an investor, they will come to you. Okay. Do not stop chasing investors. That is my advice.
That is good mantra. Okay, sir. Chitanesha, sir, you want to say something, sir? To advise to our entrepreneur? आप क्या म्यूट कर लीजिए, अनम्यूट कीजिए सर, अनम्यूट कीजिए सर, अपना अनम्यूट कर लीजिए. हाँ सर, अनम्यूट कीजिए.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See, in the context of Bhavesh has said, the confidence of the promoter is very important. But same time, in order to retain the confidence and the trust of the investor, the financial records must be absolutely neat and clean, and the investor must be provided with timely, accurate, and adequate information from
Right.
time to time.
Right. This is most important. Most important. Mathur sir. Mathur sir. Mathur ji.
Yeah.
Say any advice, sir?
Advice is focus on building a right business. If you're right, there's enough capital, there's no dearth of capital, enough money, which is, running after the right businesses. So focus on building the right business. Money will automatically, come to you.
Important, sir. Mr. Som Silva, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any advice, sir?
My advice, sir, that for a business proposition, we engage advocate for creation of agreements, etc. Experts, chartered accountant, consultant, etc. We should have a team of technical experts also. Because when you go for a deed, you have to go to advocate. When you go for a financial preparation of a statement, etc., you go to chartered accountant. For technology sector, we should be properly educated, experienced, or we should have another consultant on board. That is very necessary.
Very important.
Thank you.
At the end, I think I overstretched the time. I'm thankful to all my eminent speakers who has given a practical uh, sharing their experience practically. I'm thankful to Bhavesh sir, who is very knowledgeable, developed so many and helping the Gujarat government, Gujarat state, even Maharashtra state. And he has such experience with him that I am thankful to him for sparing his time. I am also thankful to Chaitanya Shah, who is mentor for my guide, who is also advising me how to go ahead with this startup. So he has a passion for a startup, passion for the SME sector. He written so many books for that. I think I am thankful to Mr. Chaitanya Shah. I am thankful to Sri Om Srivastava sir, who met me after 25 years. We worked together in Lucknow. So he is a very dynamic person. He is a very intelligent man, and he is a technical expert. I'm thankful to him for sparing his time. I'm also thankful to Sri Amit Mathur, who is a good friend of mine. He's helpful to me, and he's developing so many technology aspects in the ECSC. So I'm thankful to him for giving his thoughts to us. Above all, I'm thankful to my team who is not seen in the screen. Mr. Lopesh, Mr. Ankit, Mr. Vishwas, Mr. Yoginder. Although here they are not seen in the screen, they are only person who is helpful to me by managing the speaker, by having the ideas, by discussing the entrepreneurs. I'm thankful to him. Being a researcher in India, we are a merchant banker, we are an investment banker, we are preparing a DPR, we are conducting economical, technical, viability study, and we are in all field. Even we are giving training to the bankers also. If any person require any DPR or other thing, they can approach us. In the end, I'm thankful again to my participant. With their
Thank
blessing,
you.
they are also telling me, Gupta, do something, giving me feedback. So I request all the participants give their free, frank, their opinion so that we can improve our webinar. Although we have completed more than 300 webinars under a series of research in India and more than 100 webinars under the Association for Financial Advisor of India. Besides that, we are a knowledge partner almost with the Adi Chamber in India. Although you are talking about the CIA, SOCHAM, PhD Chamber, Indian Chamber of Commerce, mostly we are the knowledge partner with these people. Thank you very much.
Sir,
for
my last
speaking.
suggestion,
Please,
if you
please.
can next time allow 5 minutes to the participants for asking the questions to the panelists.
Questions.
Hey,
Correction.
sir, we are asking them, they are not given anything because we advertisement then, we give a answer question to them. Because we are not opening the system because otherwise big problem will be there. We have seen the experience. So we are asking questions, but no question was received today. That's why they are. Otherwise, we are open the platform for giving the question. The question is not available today. We are not opening the platform. It will be creating so many problems for us.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
हाँ जी
Yes, sir. हेलो क्या हो गया खत्म हो गया चला जाए क्यों चलो अच्छा रहा नहीं तो ज्यादा लोग थोड़ी ज्यादा वेबिनार ऐसा नहीं है ये एक्सपर्ट सारे एक्सपर्ट कोई सीए था, कोई कोई मतलब इंडस्ट्री चला रहा है स्टार्टअप। हाँ बड़े लोग थे भाई। और दो लोग तो ऐसे थे जो बिल्कुल ही मतलब देरी से बात कर रहे थे बिना देखे हुए। हाँ, दो लोग ऐसे तो बिना देखे बात। और दो लोग की तीन लोग, हाँ 2 लोग। एक आदमी तो अपना भी थ्योरेटिकल रट के आया था सामने रख के। उसका भी सब रख के था, फिर उनको आदत पड़ गई करते करते